my lovely little coffee beans. My name is Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about my September TBR. So, the month of September hopefully is going to be so much better than August was reading wise. I didn't read half of the things on my TBR in August. It was a whole thing. So you will see some of the same books pop up in here. Some that I didn't read, they're falling to the wayside for now. I can't be bothered to read them at the current moment. I don't want to go over the same books again. I'm not in the mood for some of the books anymore anyways. So here we are. Let's just go ahead and jump into it because I don't really know what else there is to say. But first things first, I want to go ahead and do a little announcement at the very beginning of this video. I am lucky enough to be one of the co-hosts for a Dark Romance Readathon that's going to be happening in September. It's going to be running from September 4th through the 11th. It was all Amanda's idea. She came up with the bingo board and all that kind of stuff, so credits to her for that. But she invited a lot of us on, and there's so many hosts. There's going to be sprints happening every single day of the readathon. There will be a schedule coming up soon. We just need to solidify dates and times, but that will be coming up shortly, and I will post that on my Instagram, so make sure you're following my Instagram. Little shameless self promo right there. So the co-hosts for this readathon are me, Manda, Jess, Deja, Catherine, Rye, and Cami, and it's going to be super fun. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through what I plan on reading for the readathon, and I will scoot over just a little bit so I can put the bingo board up on the screen. I am an overachiever, so I'm planning to black out the board, but you can just get a bingo and call it a day. But you know me, I gotta go big or go home. So I have something picked out for pretty much everything. I am doubling up on a few because I do plan on participating in another readathon that's running this same week, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Let's just go through the bingo board together. So the first prompt is Masked Character, and for this one, I'm going to be reading Scream for Us by Molly Doyle. This is more of a Halloween novella. It's part of the Masked Men series. I think there's just 2 books out right now. I read Melt for Us, which is the second book in this novella series, last December, and I really liked it. So I'm hoping I like this one just as much as I loved that one. So for the Captor-Captive prompt, I'm going to be reading the group book for the readathon, which is The Madhouse by Liza James. This book, the cover is stunning, first of all, and second of all, it's Captor-Captive, and we love to see it. I think it's about cults also, so I love a good cult book. The next prompt is Reverse Harem, and for this one, I'm going to be reading Satan's Affair by H.D. Carlton. I really want to read the cat and mouse duet, aka Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline, after just reading Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton, but I've heard that Satan's Affair is where you start. It's a little novella that gives you a little insight into the characters, I guess, that you'll see in the cat and mouse duet. Maybe possibly. I've just heard from other people that you should read Satan's Affair before going into the duet, so that's what I'm gonna do, and it involves a reverse harem. It's carnival vibes, so sign me up. And then the next prompt is Trigger Warning, and for this one, I'm doubling up, so I will be reading The Madhouse for this prompt as well. And then we have the next prompt, which is Serial Killer, and for this one, I'm going to be continuing on in the Necessary Evils series by reading Psycho, the first book, Unhinged. I freaking loved that book, so I can't wait to finally read the next book in the series. And then for LGBTQ+, I'm also going to be reading Psycho, so that will fit for 2 prompts. All of the books in the Necessary Evils series follow male-male couples. Male-male romances are top tier, in my opinion. The next prompt is Gothic Setting, and for this one, I'm going to be reading Antichrist by Amo Jones. I have not read an Amo Jones before, and this one's fairly short, and it has Gothic vibes, so it's perfect. It started with a bond that destroyed everyone around them. It ends with blood. say less. And then the very last prompt, Taboo, I am also doubling up on this one, and I'm going to be reading Satan's Affair for this one as well. But I will link all of the co-hosts down below. Go follow me on Instagram. I will be posting the templates, the bingo board, all that stuff on there. Hopefully you want to join us. It's going to be a fun time. Now let's go ahead and jump into book clubs. So the Sugar and Spice book club pick for this month is The American Roommate Experiment. I have yet to read the Spanish Love Deception, but you will see that later on in this video. Spoiler alert. So in this book, there's a dating experiment, there's forced proximity. The thing that does make me nervous about this book is that it is a slow burn, which is not my favorite, but if it's done well, then I think I'll be fine. But just seeing the words slow burn, immediately I'm like, no thanks. I don't want it. I don't want it. Also, in the month of September, I'm going to be the guest co-host for the Lights Out Book Club, which is run by Sav over at Riveting Reads, and we are going to be reading Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. Neither of us have read a Darcy Coates book before, so why not do it together? Yeah, I'm super excited about it, and I've been loving horror recently, so I'm so excited to be reading this with her for her book club. And then, obviously, I will be continuing in the Twilight Saga read-along. The book for this month is New Moon, so I will be reading this month. This is my least favorite book in the series, so I hope I don't dislike it as much the second time around that I did the first time. Hopefully I have more appreciation for it now. Fingers crossed. Now let's go ahead and talk about the other readathons that I'm going to be participating in this month. So the one that is going to be happening the same exact time as the Dark Romance Readathon is Spooky Smart Bitch Readathon, run by Jordaline over at Jordaline Reads. I didn't get to participate in this readathon last year. I don't remember why, but I really wanted to this year. So I'm gonna make it happen. Even though it's happening at the same time as the Dark Romance Readathon, we're doing it. It's fine. Everything's fine. So Spooky Smart Bitch Readathon is going to be running from the 4th to the 10th. So that gives me an extra day to focus on just the Dark Romance Readathon because that one runs from the 4th to the 11th. So that's good. But let me run through the prompts with you really quickly. So first we have horror by a BIPOC author. And for this, I'm going to be reading Ring Shout. This has been on my TBR for a couple of years now, and I've been meaning to get to it, and I know that Mo from the Roomies Digest really likes this book, and it's short, so you're speaking my language. Also, it's been on my TBR for a couple of years now, which, if you've been on my Instagram, you know that I'm on a book buying ban right now. One of the prompts on the bingo board is to read a book that's been on your TBR for 2+ years. And this definitely fits that prompt. So killing two birds with one stone here. And then the next prompt is horror featuring possession/demonic haunting. And for this, I'm going to be reading Mary by Nat Cassidy. And I'm also going to be reading this for the favorite horror trope because I don't really have a favorite horror trope. If I don't have a favorite, then I'm just going to say that, you know, possessions are my favorite. I did read the first 50 pages of this a couple of weeks ago, and then I just forgot that I was reading it. That didn't mean it was bad. I was really liking it, but I will probably be restarting it because I hate not finishing a book in the same month. Like, if I hate bringing over a book into another month, so if I am in the middle of a book, I will literally start the book over the next month because I hate it. I just don't like not finishing books in the same month that I started them in. That's just how I am. It's kind of frustrating even for me. And I did talk about this book last month in my TBR, but we're just gonna ignore that happened. We're just gonna ignore it. The next prompt is to read a horror written by a trans author, and for this one, I'm going to be reading Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I hear it's very gruesome, but also beautifully written, and it's about 2 serial killers falling in love. What more could you want from a horror book? I mean, come on now. And then the last prompt is to read a splatterpunk horror. And I honestly had to look up what splatterpunk horror was because I had no clue. But for this one, I'm going to be also reading Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright because splatterpunk is defined as horror that has no bounds, no limits. And when I was looking up recommendation lists for splatterpunk horror books that you should read, Exquisite Corpse was on there. Anything I can do to make anything easier on myself that week, I'm gonna take advantage of it. This month's KU 24-hour readathon, which is hosted by Amanda and I, it's usually the second weekend of the month, but the Dark Romance Readathon will be happening at that time, so we're just gonna push it to the third weekend of the month. So it'll be happening on the 17th of this month, like the 16th into the 17th. Our group book for this month is The Predator by Runics. I love the little author's note at the beginning. It says, "This is the first book of the Darkverse series. As the name suggests, everything about this world is going to be dark, brutal, and raw. The characters, their behaviors, and circumstances are all a direct result of their world. Morality is gray and humanity is questionable. This is not a world of rainbows and butterflies. With each book, I will be exploring more of the darkness and the good that can still exist in it. However, if you have certain expectations of how a character ought to behave, certain ideas that are cemented about the good and bad, or if you aren't fully ready to immerse yourself into this verse, this book might not be for you. It is dark and it is ugly. If you are not going to be comfortable with that, I sincerely urge you to pause. There are adult situations, explicit content, brutal imagery, and questionable actions. I have written this verse with a lot of love, and if you are taking this ride with me, I hope you enjoy diving into it." Live, laugh, loving for that. And then some other books that I'm hoping to get to in the 24 hours are Parallel by Elizabeth O'Rourke, Soul Eater by Lily Mayne. I know Jess will be ecstatic that I'm finally going to be diving into this one. I know I've been saying it for months, but I'm finally going to do it. And Praise by Sarah Kate, because the newest book just came out in that series. I want to jump on the hype train for it, so what better way to do so than to read it in a 24-hour readathon? I do have a few vlogs planned for this month. They're secret vlogs, so I can't really talk about them, so we're just gonna say, like, I do have other books that I'm reading this month, but I just can't talk about them. But now, let's just go ahead and jump into the buddy reads. Like I said earlier, I have not read The Spanish Love Deception yet, so I will be reading that this month, and I will be buddy reading it with Cami from Burrs and Books. I have high hopes for this one. I know everyone seems to love it and that Aaron Blackford is everyone's new book boyfriend, but again, this one is slow burn too, so I hate it here. I hate it here, but hopefully it's done well and I fall in love with it just like everyone else. And then I do have a few books that I'm planning on buddy reading with Jan. We are going to be buddy reading A Dowry of Blood. It's her third read of it, I'm pretty sure, and she really wants me to read it, so why not do it together? I've heard this writing is just stunning and I cannot wait. And then also, we will be buddy reading Night Shift, finally, this month. It's gonna happen. It didn't happen last month, but it's fine. It's happening this month, for sure. Magnolia Parks. I did start it last month and I put it down. I wasn't vibing, but we're gonna restart it fresh and new. I'm also buddy reading this with Erin from Erin Megan, but I will be getting to this month and finally finishing it. It's going to be the first book that I read this month, so it's going to happen, I promise. And then a few hopefuls that I have, because I really need to get a move on with my 22 books to read in 2022, are Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder, The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum, The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and Long Bright River by Liz Moore. This will also double for the Buzzwordathon for this month because the buzzwords are light and dark or any related words, so I would say bright does fit that category. And then two more hopefuls that I have for this month: Acts of Service by Lillian Fishman and Sundial by Catriona Ward. Look at that. Love the pink. But I think that's everything. I know I'm rushing, but my camera is flashing at me, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!